Throne is dropping on the 25th, and I'm pretty sure you've heard how good she is for Trackblazer scenario, but you don't know exactly why. So, if you've been playing Trackblazer for a while, you know by now that one of the biggest pain point of this scenario is just the variance in the career, like not knowing when to race or when to train. Well, fear not. With the existence of Throne plus Team Sirius card, this helps mitigate a lot of this randomness and will give you a better average result for your UMA careers. Now, I know that I promised UG rank in the thumbnail, but bet runs is always there. At least you can still expect about SS rank runs with this strategy, and with the low barrier of entry as well for the decks, I genuinely think it's pretty good. The whole idea of this strategy is simple. You follow a fixed schedule every single run. You know exactly which turn you're training, which turn you're racing, and which turn you're doing the recreation. No more guessing, and it basically turns Trackblazer into a brain-dead flowchart that you can follow. And if you execute it correctly, you will consistently get a decent outcome every career runs. Alright, so first, let me explain why Throne and the Team Series card together make this possible. You already have Team Series for free from the story event, and this card has 7 recreation. Throne, on the other hand, has 5 recreation, and that's 12 recreation in total between the two cards. Now, 12 recreation fills up the entire Trailblazer schedule, meaning every single death turn in your career is now a recreation. You basically have a fixed activity for every turn that would otherwise just be a wasted rest or a bad training click. On top of that, both Throne and the Team Series card have the pure passion zone mechanic, and if you use Team Series already, you know what this does. For 3 turns in a row, wherever the group support card lands on training, it turns it into a rainbow training. The key thing is that you can control the last recreation trigger that guarantees you the pure passion zone. So if you pop it right before the summer training, you can get a pretty crazy summer trainings. For this strategy, there is 2 deck format. Of course, Throne and Team Series is always there. The variant are the Gold Alt Speed Power deck and the Guts Maxing deck. With the speed and power, the format is simply 1 speed, 3 power, and the 2 group support card. You can definitely slot in your own better cards like Kita-san Black, but please make sure you hit the 50% raise bonus mark as per usual when crafting your own deck for better results. It is also very important to note that if you run this variant, you want to invest a lot of these sparks inherit into the wit sparks. This is simply because we are not running any wit card, and unless you want a low wit stats, you definitely need to run it. There's also the other variant of switching the speed card into a wit card and using speed spark inherits instead. But I think people will be more comfortable having a speed card to hit the speed cap. This is also better since you can also maximize the potentials with the speed anklets. The other big format is of course the guts formats. Mainly, the guts format is simply run when you want to build an UMA that doesn't really require stamina because there's no possible way to get the stamina stat in this deck. Here's an example of the result of it and the deck itself. The format is simply clear. You can run for Guts card and the 2 group support card. Then you simply run the same with Spark Inherits on the parent to help with your wit stats. The 4 Guts card will do their job for speed, power, and guts, while your Inherit will buffer the wit stat. I personally think it's easier to hit higher score with the Guts version, but the speed power build is also viable. Anyways, let's move on into the career gameplay strategy and tips. Alright, so let's discuss the schedule or really the core part of this video. As you can see here, this is the gameplay schedule. By the way, the blue kanji here means training, but otherwise it's all just races and recreations of the cards. Let's understand it step by step, starting from the junior year. The first 11 turns of the career before the debut race, you just play it normally. Basically, same as any other runs that you would do. You just simply focus on the cards bond, prioritize the training with more cards, and try to click with trainings when you can, so you get more trainings in. And the most important thing here is, well, you just focus on the Bonds of Throne and Team Series card. The reasoning is very straightforward. You want to unlock both of these recreation for the card as soon as possible because they are the core functionality of how this deck works. For the record, you need to unlock Team Series by the September before the Suzuka recreation right here. As for Throne, the deadline is way later, which is before the end of the year. you want to unlock both these recreation ideally before the end of year for their bonus stat events at the New Year's. The biggest downfall of the setup is only one. If you fail to unlock recreation by the time you need them, the run is simply over, and you need to door the run and start a new career. This is probably the only thing that's very tedious for this deck. But I think it's still better to waste like 5 to 10 minutes of run rather than a whole hour for a bad results. The success requirement for the run is just literally having both of these card gets their outing at the start of the career, and if you hit that, the schedule simply flows and you're guaranteed to have a good time in the career. Anyway, here's the outing order to follow. On late September, you do San Suzuka, and on late November, you do Narita Bryan, both from the Team Series card. These two recreation takes a bit energy and the other one doesn't give energy, so we want it out of the way immediately before the later half of the career when you want energy for the races. As for late January, you'll do the Rudolph recreation from the Throne card. Rudolph will give you a small energy recovery, so the turn after this where you race is covered. Late February, you do Rice Shower from Team Sirius, and Rice Shower recovers 30 energy. Plus, there's a fixed event that gives you another 20 energy recovery here, so you can survive the 3 races in a row without that much of a mood down penalty. Late April is Special Week, which follows the same logic as Rice Shower. She recovers roughly 50 energy, so the next 3 races in a row will be fine. On late June right here, it will be Tokai Teos from Throne Card Recreation. This is your mood up recreation turn, which is provided, and it's well timed right before the summer. You want to be in good shape heading into the summer training as per usual, so this is where you get the mood ups and fix your mood. Honestly, for the summer camp, the original guide suggests you to race the first 2 turns here, but I would say if you have a really good training, it's definitely fine to train here. Feel free to use your item you save up throughout the first half of the game. If you don't get good trainings, then just follow the schedule and don't burn your item and just simply race. Make sure to train though on the last turn on summer because you don't want to enter too much of a consecutive race after the summer. The energy drink symbol right here on the guide put is simply using any kind of energy item to avoid the mood down that may occur. After the first summer camp, on late October, you will be using Major McQueen's recreation from Team Sirius. And from my experience, you'll have a low energy by this point. But you don't really care about the mood here because the second summer is still a way bit further in a career. So you can tank a bit of the mood down here. It's fine to get hit with some mood down here, and just keep on stacking items like the cupcake to fix the mood later on. Early December is Surumaru Tsuyoshi Recreation Outing from the Throne card. She recovers 36 energy and you will do 3 races in a row here. For this section specifically, gambling the bottom option is always better, so you can hit the minus 10 energy and survive the third race penalty. This is a little bit nerdy, but it's optimal because it goes from 36 to 11 and 11 to 1. If you succeed any of the first 2 races, then you will be fine with the third race. Entering the senior year on early February, you will be using the Thrones Fort outing. And following the schedule, early April is Winning Ticket's turn, also has the Mood Up event to help you with your mood before summer. You can also use some energy item along this period to help you with avoiding the mood down penalty. Then, 3 turns before the summer is the last 2 outings for both the group support card and their last recreation to get all the pure passion zone before going into the summer. The second summer is super straightforward. You just train and pop your megaphones, pop your anklet, and all that, and just try to get the best trainings possible. The rest of the schedule is pretty straightforward, I believe. Just train when it's good and race when it's not. And then you move into the Twinkle Climax Star and train as per usual. Do not forget to use your hammers here. Okay, let's talk about item management for this strategy. Honestly, it doesn't really differ much from the normal Trek Blazer run. You want to buy the scrolls and stats besides the plus 3 ones. You also get the anklets, megaphone, barbecue, and energy bottle as per usual. There's nothing really different than your normal gameplay. You want to save the items as well for the summer trainings, because, well, that's where we only train here in the schedule. And just a bit of extra supplies for the items, it is best to save your barbecue until you really need it if you have charmings on your cart, or you will want to wait for the mirror in the shop for the max potential. But definitely use these barbecue before entering the summer trainings because you want the rainbow training from the cards. And well, as we all know, you want to keep two golden hammer before the twinkle climax at the end, so you can get most stats out of the twinkle climax races. It is recommended to keep two at least because the final shop usually gives you one hammer. There is also the street turn at the start after the debut race where you will train. If you have the 40% megaphone here, feel free to pop them and use it by all means. As for the best UMA choices, well, it's up to you, but Uma that has 20% speed bonus on them is usually easier to build. The candidates are your usual Ogre Cap, El Condor Pasa, etc. Do note that the usual rule of having good aptitudes on mile, medium, and long distance really help. If you don't have good aptitude on mile, then GG, you will have a rough time. Also, it's not the end of the world if you do not run the 20% speed bonus UMA for the EQ rating. It is also possible to get UG even without those UMAs. For example, this guy did it with his King Halo. Alright, hopefully this helped you guys understanding the drone strategy. I hope it helped you understanding the runs and how this strategy works in general. Hopefully you can get your first high rank UMA, either that be the SS rank or UG rank with this strategy. If you guys also want to check out their gameplay and how it plays out, you can see my showcase runs for the speed build and the guts build right here. As always, thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one.